Hi, my name is Sheila. Welcome to my Domains of Mind video. So how the video is going to go, I'm going to show you my Domains of Mind creation that I made. I made an illustration. Then I'm going to tell you about a personal work story where I did not use my Domains of Mind. I was not using a wise mind. Then I'm going to break down that story into which mind was going on at the time. So my emotional, my rational, and my body mind. Then with those three, I'm going to sort of talk about how I could have used a more wise mind approach. Then I'm going to talk more about would I use a wise mind approach in moving forward, what would be the positive, negative outcomes of that, and if I would talk about if I would be comfortable using the wise mind in the future. So first to start, here is my illustration that I made of the wise mind. So I basically did a different color to signify each mind, and I did a different character. So for the body I chose like a cool blue, and then around the person is things like shallow breath, fist clenched, heart pounding. And then for the emotional mind I chose red because it's a really bold color, and just like the emotional mind, it kind of can take over. So the emotional mind person is saying things like, I'm sick and tired of their drama, they make me annoyed and frustrated, they yelled at me last time, so I'm going to avoid them. For the rational mind, there's a guy with a brain, and then there's little thought bubbles that are rational thoughts. So this one says, I'm going to make sure that someone comes along with me next time because their behavior is escalating. And then the second bubble says, I need to seek supervision. I've never dealt with this type of situation before. So in the middle is someone who is using the wise mind. It's like a counselor, they're sitting in a chair, and to represent the wise mind, they have all three colors on their sweater. It might be hard to see in the video. So that's my illustration. I found it helpful doing a sort of art piece to like reflect on the different minds, and it made me reflect on the different situations that I've been in where certain minds have dominated more than others. So my work personal story, it happened kind of recently. I'm an outreach worker for the tuberculosis community health program. So basically what I do is I do the sort of like footwork for the nurses. I observe people taking their meds 3 times a week. And then I also make sure they get to their appointments, help them get to their appointments, and then try to find them if they're MIA. It's often a population where people are moving around and sometimes homeless, so I try to track them down and call all of their relatives or friends to see where they're at. And then I report back to the nurses. So I'm kind of like a communication point person between client and nurse. So on this particular day, I was still fairly new. It's been maybe a month. I came into work and one of my coworkers had called in sick. So I was basically told, Sam's sick, here are all of her clients, get going kind of a thing. And so I had like a double caseload. And I also have less hours, so I had a shorter time to do everything. And it's a manageable thing to do, it's possible. I was just really stressed about it. So yeah, I was stressed. I felt like I was being pulled different directions, like I was a chicken without their head. And so that's how I was feeling. And then I found that one of the client's meds were out. So I went and I told one of the nurses, hey, their meds are out. Can you make up a pack for them for the day? And they basically responded by getting mad at me and saying that it's my job to let them know when the meds are out, that I need to communicate that, and like wasn't I told that was a part of my job, and didn't Sam train me like that? And then she questioned my coworker, and it was very confusing, and it felt inappropriate to me, and I was kind of upset as she was yelling at me. I was just kind of like, okay, and then I had to get going with my day. So the day went on. There's a client that I have to see with another person because of safety concerns. And so I didn't have time to try to find someone. I didn't have time to communicate and ask someone it felt like, to find someone for me. And so I made the executive decision that I wasn't going to see them, because I wasn't going to put myself in an unsafe situation just so that I could get them check their file, right? And then I could see them another day, and like when I would have more time to find someone to see them with. So, and another reason that influenced my decision was that it was the same nurse that yelled at me, client, and I didn't want to see her. I was kind of mad at her, and so I just decided that I wasn't gonna ask her to come see them with me, because I felt like she wasn't going to see them anyways, and I didn't want to hang out with her at that point. I needed to cool down from her, and so yeah, and so I got back to the office, and she was like, "Did you see that client?" And I was like, "No, I couldn't find anyone." And then she got mad at me again, and was like, "You could have asked me, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, well, do you want to do it now?" And she's like, "No." So that was that. And then yeah, she further questioned my training and abilities, and so that was a hectic situation for me. So what was going on in my three minds at the time? So my body mind was, I was pretty stressed. It felt like my chest was really tight and my heart was beating pretty fast. I was just like nervous and kind of sweaty, and so I noticed that I was impeding my decision making and my choices, because I felt so rushed, and I had to do things quickly, but I didn't have to do things that quickly, right? And because of that, I was becoming forgetful, and I could tell that it was comparing my judgment for things. I also, when I feel anxious, I lose my appetite, and so I didn't eat all day, and so that also kind of contributed to my emotional state. So my emotional mind, I was pretty upset about that nurse yelling at me. I didn't feel like I was being supported, and I didn't feel like she was being fair to me. And also, like, it wasn't my fault. Like, it wasn't my client, and it turns out that Sam actually did tell her that the meds were running out a while ago. She just didn't do it. So, but, so yeah, I could tell throughout the day that my thoughts were kind of circulating. I was just, like, feeling mad at her, and I kept thinking about it. And in the end, that affected me not, like, calling her and letting her know that I didn't have anyone to see this client, or asking her to come see them with me. The rational piece of that whole scenario was that I decided not to go see that person for safety reasons, and I did think about it. I was like, it's just a 5-minute interaction. I could go see them and just get it over with, and that would be that. But in the end, I was like, it's not safe, I shouldn't go. I can see them another time, and when I have more time to find someone to be with me. Those are the 3 states. And like talking about it and reflecting on those 3 different ones, I feel like a wise mind approach would have been, in order to acknowledge the things that were going on internally, would have been to take a deep breath and to just take a moment to calm down, and to like give myself a pep talk, and just pause. That would have also helped my emotional state, feeling frazzled, feeling upset, taking that moment to acknowledge that I am upset with this person and that I shouldn't let it get in the way of my job. So a wise mind approach to the emotional piece would have been, I should have just called and left a message and been like, hey, I can't find anyone. I'm really busy right now. It's hectic. I'm gonna try to see this person tomorrow. Or if you can come see them, phone me, let me know. I didn't even have to talk to them. I could have just left a message, and that would have sort of solved that whole piece of me getting in trouble and her questioning my ability to do my job, just because my emotions got in the way. The rational part, again, would have been calling her. It also would have been asking for help, communicating to her that, like, hey, I have a lot going on right now, because in the end, she ended up apologizing to me because she didn't realize that I had so much to do and that it was pretty hectic and that no one was there to phone and call someone and try to see if they could get someone to go with me. So that would have been the wise mind approach. Ask for help, leave a message, and to take a few moments to calm down. That would have created a way better outcome for me. It would have demonstrated to that nurse that, like, hey, I can do my job, I can communicate with you, even though you got mad at me, like, I'm not gonna let that get in the way. Would I feel comfortable using this technique in future situations? Totally. Even just talking about the 3 different minds and like having more of a knowledge about that makes me more aware about what's going on, especially the emotional and the physical state. Kind of like being like, I am upset right now, or like, I'm really stressed right now, what can I do? And like it allows me to take that step outside of myself and to think more clearly about what I could be doing. Especially the asking for help piece. It's pretty hard to ask for help sometimes, and taking that sort of wise mind approach in that it's a very rational thing to do is to ask for help when I need it. Everyone is human. So yeah, I feel like the wise mind is something that I can definitely incorporate into my practice and my life, and to me it feels like it's another piece of self-awareness, and it kind of helps me think in a more rational but also like acknowledging my emotional state. And I think that it could help me be a more effective communicator and helper. So yeah, thank you for listening and watching my video, and I look forward to learning more in this class.